everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're starting a brand new series today, and I'm pretty excited about it. So we're starting Tsurune! I think that's how you pronounce it. But I just finished Vinland Saga Season 1, which is great, and Season 2 of Vinland Saga is going to be starting in January, and so in between, I realized there's just enough time there that I could squeeze in a short series. And so if you go to like my miscellaneous channel, my miscellaneous playlist on the channel, you'll find that I did like a game of darts to figure out the series that was going to replace it, and Tsurune won, and I'm really excited because I have wanted to see Tsurune for a very long time. It has been recommended literally since I started this channel. It's been on a few polls and it's gotten close to winning. It's just never won. And so I really like the idea of doing this series that is really well liked, but isn't maybe like the most popular or trendy show. But a movie's just came out on it and there's a second season starting in January. So I'm pretty excited. I'm like, we'll start the series and then get to just dive right in. The timing could not be better, right? So that's pretty exciting. But I don't know anything about this series other than it is about archery, and it's by KyoAni, and KyoAni is the same studio that has done Free and Violet Evergarden, and so I'm like, of course, those series are absolutely gorgeous animation-wise, so you know the animation is going to be really good. But KyoAni is also really good. The shows that are usually on that series are usually based on light novels, or they're anime only, or anime original, and so they usually are very dynamic and unique. And so I'm pretty excited about Tsurune being this unique story. So I'm pretty good. I have done a little bit of archery in the past. I'm terrible at it, but I'm from the Midwest in the United States where there's a lot of people that do a lot of archery. So I know a little bit about it, but not anything like competitive wise, because this is kind of like a sports anime. Sort of. I'm assuming it's going to be the same way a sports anime is, in that Free is a sports anime. So if you've watched Free, which I love Free, it's one of my favorite. It's my comfort anime. I love Free, so I'm excited. Hopefully Tsurune will join this as a comfort anime as well. But I don't know anything about it. So as per usual on my channel, I'm going into this blind. Feel free to comment down below. Just please, if you are going to say any plot spoilers, please tag them as plot spoilers so that I don't read them. I don't want to be spoiled. I want to go in blind as I watch this series. But if you want to talk about it down below in the comments with each other, just make sure you tag it so I don't read it. But I'm pretty excited, y'all, to see what this show has in store for us. Should be a fun time. So we're not going to waste any more time. Let's dive in and get introduced to this new series, shall we? But yeah, we are going to start Tsurune episode 1, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I don't anticipate having to bring out whiteboard-kun for this show a lot, but there is a lot going on in this first episode, and I was like, I need to write down names. I want to write down things. There are things being set up. This show goes through quite a bit in its first episode, which there's only 13 episodes and then an OVA. And then I've heard the movie is like a recap movie, but there's maybe some additional scenes to it, and there's season 2. So there's lots of characters, lots of things going on. This is a very formal version of archery. I know a little bit about competitive archery, but this is very much a Japanese tradition. It's a little bit different. And these characters, oh my gosh. So Minato, I'm reading Ace of the Diamond at the same time. Someone's like, is he related to Narumiya May? Can we just like make them connected? Can we connect these worlds? But yeah, this series is kind of like, it gives me such Free vibes, like right off the bat, which it doesn't help that it's KyoAni doing it, so of course I'd make that connection. But it also gives me kind of like Run with the Wind vibes, because there's a character with a scar, that there's a mysterious backstory with it that we don't know about. Yeah, I'm getting like Run with the Wind meets Free, and I love both those series, so this is gonna be right up my alley. And there's a hot guy with an owl, so as a major fan of Labyrinth, with David Bowie and that owl, I'm all about him already. Like, give me that arm, KyoAni. I feel like a Victorian lady showing my ankles off, you know. I absolutely love it already, but I wanted to bring whiteboard-kun out because we have a lot of characters, and there's 2 different groups. There's 2 childhood friend groups. There's things being set up, and I, for my sake, need to write it down here so we can go over it. But yeah, the young man on the shooting range. And we do like a time skip, so there's like a lot going on here. But very, very Free-esque, right? The whole thing in Free, if you've not watched Free with Toby Slim Club, go watch it now after this. Go start your journey there. But there's like a droplet of water that kind of starts out the entire series. And the main character in that series, who's called Haru, is connected to that droplet of water, and it's like a motif with him. And here we have the drawing of the bowstring connecting to Minato. So yeah, definitely getting like the similar vibes. And the fact that the flower is blooming as the bowstring is drawn back, and we see that in the ED, there's clearly a connection there. We see the power of Nakama, and Ryohei, I freaking love him already. I like all these characters already. And then it's like going through the beginning of this episode, going through like all the motifs, like them all like with their gloves together, with the shirts hanging in the background. Like it's touching all of those plot points, right? But then we see the guy with the sexy chiseled upper arm and that bicep. Maybe this is all, I have a feeling the OP time is kind of tinkered with in this episode. I have a feeling the beginning, the introduction of this episode, where Minato is talking about drawing the string back and the sound like soaring, like a ray of light flashing in the dark. With the imagery that we see there, I feel like that's all stuff that is to come in the future. But then we go back to the past. So it does a funny thing with time. But we see that guy there with the amazing bicep, like this divine mentor figure. Excuse me. Hi. Already here for it. And then we see the guy with the purple eyes. Ooh! The guy with the purple eyes and like the funky hair. So many thoughts. I will go from here. Yeah. So clearly the guy with the purple eyes and the mentor figure are going to be pretty integral to this, but we'll see. But then, yeah, so we see from the past, we go from what is potentially the present time and or future with Minato, and we cut back to the past as a kid when he first saw them doing Kyudo, right? Japanese archery with his mother. Yeah, and him watching them draw the bow back and everything. And like the form and all of that. I'm a pretty big fan of this opening already. And then the sound when he lets go of the bow and it's like, pew. KyoAni can make anything look beautiful. Anything look beautiful. KyoAni can make the sound of a bowstring being let go be the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen. And I like that one guy like clenches his fist. And then he's like, what's that womb sound? And looking at his mom. And she says it's called Tsurune. And she's so pretty. The sound made by the bowstring when the arrow is released. I love that we have a little green-eyed protagonist. Because to be honest, we don't get a lot of green-eyed characters, especially protagonists in anime. And as a fellow green-eyed individual, I'm all about it. So we've got Minato Narumiya. And we have a few things established from him right off the bat, right? We know that his mother has passed. That his mother passed when he was in 6th year. Okay. Which is like right at the start of middle school for them, right? Correct? Okay. So I want to do like up here a timeline. So we have as a child... He first learns about Tsurune. All right, so we have that point there. We're going to establish that. And then him seeing it. And then just being, he's so cute! It means like Tsurune. And then seeing, yeah, so he was clearly a child. And then we cut to middle school, right? This is the middle school where he's going up to do the competition, the finals. And he has the competitor number 1. He says the boys group finals will now begin. Okay. And I want to pay more attention now that we've got a little bit more context. So he says Kurosaki Private Middle School. Okay. So from here we have middle school finals. Okay. And so we have, I'm going to put that down here. So we have middle school finals is what happens then. And so we know that he went to Kurosaki, now private middle school. All right. So private middle school. So that's interesting. That begs the question, did he go to the private middle school because they had the Kyudo team and they were really popular? It's kind of like when Free establishes that a lot of these kids, they go to certain high schools and certain middle schools following that sport, right? It's a lot different. Like in the US, you kind of just go to school where you live at, but here they kind of get the freedom to choose where they end up going. And so it's like they end up going to the private middle school. So that's curious. That suggests that maybe, and I don't know how private school works in Japan compared to the US, but that could suggest that he's from a more well-to-do family, that he has that, or it was until his mom passed, but he was in the finals. Okay, and I wanted to pay attention to these names now that we know some of them. So, yep, we have at Hall 1, shooting first, Narumiya. Okay, and so it says the prefectural tournament finals, Hall 2, Ishikawa Daichi. Quiet, please. Okay, so Narumiya was the first to shoot there. Okay. And shooting second, Takahaya, which would be his fellow classmate, right? And then Fujiwara. We got Fujiwara on there. Okay, and then at Hall 2, there's a different one there. So, okay. So, yeah, his friend is the one beside him. Okay. And then we don't get to see, they don't tell us the names of the other ones other than Fujiwara, right? Fujiwara is the only other person we get to see. So is Fujiwara going to be the one that is the purple-eyed boy? I want to see, like, when we get a shot of all of them together. Okay, and then he goes to fire. Okay. And he just looks kind of like dead-eyed, like really super serious. But, okay, I want to make note with that the only other names we get are Seiya's name, which I like Seiya. Seiya, and then we get Fujiwara. They are the only other ones who they dignify with a name also there. Okay. And at that point, we can assume that that's where he gets this target panic from there. Now, I'm going to assume that this target panic, I'm just foreseeing that it is going to be tied to his mother's death. And I'm not ready for that, KyoAni. Violet Evergarden, I was a mess. I don't think I ever cried during Free because Free's too fun to be a cry-worthy show. But I cried during Run with the Wind. So, like, if this is going to be like a combination of the two, okay. But yeah, so we get this, like, OP with the marbles, and they all have, like, different colors associated with them, and they all have different bags for their gloves. I love they have glove bags. It's so cute, and his have dragonflies on them. His are green with dragonflies, okay? So I'll make note that his bag, his lucky bag with his glove is green with dragonflies. Okay. And so, yeah, we get all the characters here in the OP. Nanao with all the girls following him. Brooding cat boy Kachan, because he has all the cats associated with him, right? And they're making the targets. So cute. And then Ryohei, getting him in there. I wanted to go back to this OP, and then all the 5 of them, right? Of course we have to have 5 of them. Why wouldn't we? And then showing all of them practicing the Kyudo. All right. And then I wanted to see who else was going to be in this OP. I feel like, yeah. And so then there's a rival school with a purple-haired hot guy. What? Of course. And then, yeah, because it's KyoAni, we have to have, like, these beautiful flowing graphics that resemble water but are not water. KyoAni knows how to animate. They know what's up. Okay. So what I love about this, too, is that we have, like, the scenery and everything. KyoAni, like, this animation studio, I will sing its praises all day because they do such a dedicated job animating and doing their... I got Run with the Wind vibes instantly, not only because of this opening scene where Minato is running, but also because it's the concept of recreating the hall and getting the team back together, which is kind of a free plot point as well. But... also, the dog had me thinking of Run with the Wind. But yeah, Minato, I'm here for a crossover, and he forgot his towel. So he forgot his towel, and then he sees Kuma, right? And so he's like, oh, hey, Kuma. He's like, you're in a good mood today. And so then he's given the towel by Seiya instead of the dad, right? And he's like, oh, good morning, Minato. And he's like, why are you here? So there's instantly like a little bit of tension there. So Minato was okay with the dad, but he is tense with Seiya. Okay. And I'm assuming that's because Seiya knows things about his past, their childhood friends. So I'm going to put in the childhood friend group 1. So we have childhood friends. All right, we have Minato. I'll get him his name right. We have Minato. And then we have Seiya, which I like Seiya quite a bit. He's a cool character. He's like, my dad's under the weather, so he's not up to walking. So I will offer to walk Kuma instead. Okay, he's like, oh, cool, yeah. And he goes to leave, and he's like, oh, here, why don't you dry your hair first? It's like, you'll get sick on your first day of your entrance exam, right? And instead, he chooses to dry it with his shirt, and that's when we see that he has the scar, right? So my theory is he has the scar on his torso, right? I mean, I have a theory. My theory is that maybe his mom had like a terminal illness and he maybe tried to like do some organ donation to try to save her and it didn't work. I don't know if that's the case or if this was an accident. He got cut by something. I don't know. It feels to me like it was something related to his mom, but I don't know. But yeah, but Seiya sees it and he puts the towel away. And he's like, oh yeah, you knew. He's like, your dad told me. And then he makes the comment, too bad. He's like, I'm hoping to bump into you at school and surprise you. So he hadn't told them they were going to go to the same high school together, right? He hadn't told them they're going to go to the same high school. It was going to be a surprise. And then he says, well, yeah, I'm already pretty surprised. He's like, I'm relieved we get to go to this high school together. And he says, good thing I passed the exam. He says, you could have just gone to the affiliated high school. He's like, Kazumai was an easy pass, right? What if I do if I'm gonna fail? So what he's suggesting is Minato you get that, I feel like that tension from Minato is that he feels that Seiya is lowering himself going to that high school, and we'll get it in a second. Because Kazumai, get that right. He feels like Seiya is much too smart to go to this high school. He's like, why didn't you go to the Kurosaki high school? Like, you could have gotten in easily there. Why didn't you go? And it seems like he's like, oh, well, I wanted to come with you. So I feel like Minato feels like Seiya is following him because he needs to take care of him. And he's like, I don't want you to like babysit me this whole time. I feel like that's the vibe he's getting because Seiya is instantly established to be top of the class, right? And Minato almost seemed like he was going to this high school because they didn't have a Kyudo team. He didn't want to join. He just wanted to separate himself from Kyudo altogether and start fresh. And then Ryohei comes in like a damn golden retriever and messes all that up. But that's kind of just the vibe that I got, that he thought that Seiya was too good for the same high school. And that, yeah, Kazumai, he's like, you're too good for here. Why don't you go somewhere that's more suited to your talents? And then, of course, yeah, Seiya is the top of the class. And then there, yeah, Takahaya Seiya signing off. And then, yeah, Ryuhei's like snoozing in the corner, like completely. That's why he probably didn't recognize him, because he was like passed out during the entrance exam. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to put down Takahaya. Okay. All right, there's a lot of names and stuff to get in here, and so whiteboard-kun is assisting me. But yeah, he's just like barely waking up. This sweet bean. But then he sees him. He wakes up and he sees Seiya and he's like, oh, hey, you're here. What a puppy dog. A freaking puppy dog. And so, yeah, then there's all the clubs and everything, which I kind of get envious for Japan for having like the clubs and everything. My high school, we did not have club day. It was not this exciting and energetic, nor did we have this many clubs. Then we have our Rin prototype, but Rin is a diva shark and free, and this guy is not very much like Rin in terms of his overall personality. He just has the red hair motif and the eyes. He's just like, oh, we thought you might play soccer. And he's like, no, he's super serious about archery. Like, old Kachan is like super serious about archery. He's like, don't mess with me. So then we have childhood friend group number 2. Childhood friend group 2. We have Nanao, and then we have Kachan. which is funny. I instantly think of Bakugo from My Hero Academia. Instantly think of them. But yeah, they're like, oh, don't threaten our senpai. He's like, come on, be nice. I love that Nanao has like all the charms on everything. It's really cute. He's like, my boy here can kill with a glance. And he's like, since when am I your boy? Oh, I'm like, am I going to ship these two? Like this dynamic of like the super popular, like nice boy and then the bad boy. I don't know. Nanao looks like he can take care of himself. So Nanao is not a golden retriever like Ryohei. He looks like he can take care of himself. And he's Mr. Popular. So yeah, Nanao is, I'm going to put down here, Mr. Popular. We get that. That all the girls like him. And then he's like, what on earth? Kazumi excels in literature and athletics. So it's mainly known for its athletics and its literature. Interesting. And then I love that you just see Ryohei coming from Aoi, and he's like, there they are. Like, he's just like swoops in. This kid. He's so freaking tall. He's like, I finally found you. He's like, I'm not doing any clubs. It's Minato and Seiya. And they're like reunited in high school. Like this freckle-faced boy, and they're like, wait, who are you? They're like, are you Ryohei? Yamanouchi Ryohei. Okay. So Ryohei, and then how you spell his name? Yamanouchi. Who is a puppy dog. I love his energy. I love his energy. What I like is that these characters are not totally archetypes from Free. There's some similarities in their looks, but that's like their personalities are very different. Like Minato and Haru have similar like disinterested vibes, but it's disinterested for different reasons, which I like. But it's like, oh, you know how this song and dance goes. He's like, I put on 30 centimeters since I transferred, and it's like, oh, no wonder we didn't recognize you. He's like, that was our 5th year of elementary school. Has it been over 4 years? So yeah, he's like, that's when we were back in 5th grade. And he's like, now we're in 9th grade. So yeah, it's been 4 years since they've seen each other. So we'll put on there that they have not seen, it's been 4 years. 4 years since the three were together. It's like, oh, they're so freaking cute. I love these boys already. He's like, oh, actually my 2nd year of middle school. And then, yeah. And then we get Tame Sensei. I love this man. This old man Tame Sensei is so freaking cute. He's like my homeroom teacher, Morioka Tomio Sensei. No, Tame Sensei. I like Tame Sensei. Connecting them all together. I love he has this cool combination of a bolo tie with the Mr. Rogers cardigan. All about it. It's like, what if Ama-chan from Free was like a little old man who's so sweet? I'm all for it. And he's like, it's my first year at Kazumi too, in my own way. So yeah, he's basically saying, he's like, yeah, this is my first time back here as well. So I want to revive the Kyoto Club. And I talked to Ryohei, who's in my homeroom, and he's like, yeah, we could totally do that. And he's like, look, I found 2 veterans. And he's like, and you're Narumiya Minato-kun, huh? He says, I'm working on an important mission. So he's done his research a little bit. Our guy's done his research. It involves resurrection, bringing the dead back to life. Which, that whole thing there, the idea of resurrecting something, I feel like that's going to tie in to the fact that Minato's lost his mom. The idea that he lost his passion for Kyoto after losing his mother, and everything kind of just broke down from there. And this club in high school is resurrecting that passion and that memory that he gained from that time he went with his mom to go see that first bow shoot. So I have a feeling that that's what it's going to tie back to, but we'll see, right? We got 12 more episodes in an OVA to figure all that out, right? But yeah, he's like, it's close but not quite. And of course, in KyoAni fashion, it's like gorgeous wind, sunlight, everything hits the room in the right moment, and it's gorgeous. And it's just like the sparkle in Minato's eyes. This wonderful shooting range. It's already put together. They don't have to do so much like Free. And yeah, and Minato is face though. So even though Minato has sworn off archery, he's like, I'm not doing Kyudo. He still has the reaction. He still has the reaction to the field. Right? He still has that reaction to the field where he's he's like, yeah, he's like, he like doesn't want to admit it, but there's a passion there. And Seiya sees it too. Seiya looks at him watching the field like, yeah, it's not gone, right? There were so many moments in this, like when Ryohei got him to go to the meeting and everything, and Seiya was like, good job, Ryohei. Like Seiya knows there's like a closeness between him and Minato, but he can only do so much. It's kind of like when you're close to somebody, but because you're close, they kind of, not that they take advantage of it, but it can be hard to convince them of something. But then when you bring in somebody from the outside and they say the same thing that you said, and the friend's like, oh yeah, sure. And you're like, that's what I've been saying this whole time. That's kind of how Seiya is. He's like, I could tell Minato to come, but he's not going to do it. But if somebody from the outside brings him in, he doesn't really have much of a choice because there's not that comfort there. He doesn't want to be impolite. But yeah, the principal trusted me with the mission to bring back the Kyoto Club. Oh, and I love that little Ryo. He's like, hell yeah, let's do it. He's like, my middle school required a martial art and I picked it up. So yeah, Ryohei says that I picked up Kyudo because he's like, I saw that you guys were so good at it and I wanted to try it too. But I like that we established in this episode that Seiya's pretty good. Seiya's pretty good at Kyudo already. Minato was really good, and now he's hit this slump with his target panic. And KyoA has been doing it, but he's not very good because the club that he was in wasn't very serious. He's got like kind of Hinata syndrome from Haikyuu, where he's like, yeah, in middle school we kind of had a club, but I was kind of the only one. I don't really know the basics. He's very much like Hinata. Maybe that's why I like Ryohei so much, because he has the Hinata vibes. He's got a sunshine character vibe. But then here's the thing. He talks about his mother dying. He's like, I've been handling most of the housework. Because yeah, he's like, I'm not going to join. And apparently it's co-ed, so there's going to be girls in here too, which is fun. I like the fact it's not just going to be a sausage fest. And yeah, he's like, I'm not going to join a club. And he's like, oh, why is that? And he's very like just somber about that. And he grabs his side when he talks about his mom dying. So I'm like, did they get in an accident? Maybe that was the case. They were in like a car accident or something. And that's where he got the scar. But yeah, Seiya doesn't look very happy about it at all. He looks really sad. And poor Ryohei, Ryohei is like, oh no, like he just gets so, he's like, I didn't know. He's like, I'm so sorry, I never heard. And he's like, it was like 3 years ago, right? So, around this time, we've established that his mom has died. Okay? That his mom has died around that time. And now he's in high school. Okay, and that was his 6th year. We don't know exactly when these middle school finals were. We just know that it was somewhere between his 6th and 8th year, but we don't know when they were exactly. But we know that his mom died in the 6th year. So all this is taking place somewhere in middle school, and now he's in high school as well. Okay. And he's like, oh, I see. It's a shame, but I won't force you. He's like, you can change your mind and come watch. And then Seiya's like, are you sure? And he's like, I don't do Kyudo anymore. But Seiya's like, I know you still carry your treasure around. And he doesn't say anything to that. He just keeps going. And poor Seiya's like, So even though he's like, he doesn't want to do archery, he doesn't want to do anything, he still carries, and it's called his treasure, but he carries the glove around. He carries the glove, which is called his treasure. Okay. So we get that, and then we show him going home, and he has like the meat and stuff to make dinner. Like he said, he wanted to make the ginger pork, so he clearly is doing like the housework and everything because his dad works. All right. Because I wondered about that. When he said he was doing the housework, I'm like, does he live alone? But then his father lives with him, right? And they show him next door, and he sees Kuma. Kuma's so cute. And he says, your master's going to be late. Forget him. So like, he's like, I'm okay. The fact that he has to tell the dog I'm okay. Minato! And then we see Seiya's mom, which Seiya looks a lot like his mom, right? And so we see, and Minato looks a lot like his mom as well, right? Has the same hair part and everything. He says he's home. So yeah, he has a pretty sweet room. I like the room that he's got, like with the little grid and everything. And it says, Dad, no subject. Seiya, no subject. Dad, no subject. And the dad says, I won't need dinner tonight. I might also be back late. He's like, oh, he's running late. And here I thought I'd make ginger pork. And then he can hear the people from next door saying, Ko-chan, what club are you going to join? Basketball. You hero, soccer. Joining the drawing club. And so we see the books he has on the shelves are all Kyoto books. Like 3 of them are in a row. I feel so bad for him because, like, clearly Kyoto is something that's he's very passionate about. But he's made this stance that he's not going to join the club and he's not going to do it. And it's like, damn it, you know? It's like, what do you do? And then we cut to the glove that's in the bag with the dragonflies. Yep. So that was the intro of the shooting range thing. And so then we get the one girl, she like comes up to Seiya, and Minato leaves the class without stopping to say hi to Seiya. So him and Seiya are not on best friend terms. They're clearly have had some separation. Like, Minato has withdrawn himself from Seiya because he doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about his issues. And Seiya, being the good friend that he is like, well, what do I do? And again, Seiya's like, I can't, he's like, he doesn't want to talk to me, so I don't want to push him, right? I don't want to corner him. And you can just tell he's kind of worried about it. And so this girl like asks him to come with him. But I love that, again, Seiya does not feel like, or he doesn't have the personality to corner Minato and make him stop. But Ryuhei does, and I like that Ryuhei wasn't put up to it. He just literally was like, come on, let me do this. And he's like, I can help you. And Ryuhei is literally a puppy dog. He's like, and the thing of it is, he's coming at it from such like an innocent standpoint that Minato can't really say no. He's like, back when I was a kid and I couldn't eat the pineapple in my sweet and sour chicken, you ate it for me. And he was like, that we were kids. And he's like, there's all these weird girls there and I don't want to show up. And he's like, weird girls. But it's co-ed, right? It's a co-ed team, as we come to find out. So there are 3 girls. I'm going to put there the 3 girls that are on the team so far. I feel like this initial meeting was just like an informational meeting, and most of the girls there are not wanting to join. They just want to see Nanao. They're like, he's still getting ready. He's like, please bail me out. Please help me. You're my hero. You're my hero, Ferris Bueller. Like, that's Ryuhei, basically. And Minato's like, are you serious? And he's like, what's different now from high school? He's like, how are we different? We're still friends. We still like the same things. And Minato's like, I can't argue with that. So yeah, I like that Seiya is the good boy. He's the goodest boy, getting all the targets in place and all the preparations. And I like that Seiya's like, I'm not just going to bring this club back. I want to make it a success. Seiya is in it to win it. Seiya is like, I don't half-ass shit. We're going to do this right from the start. And I like that about Seiya. I like Seiya's character being like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it well, right? He seems like a very thorough character with his right eye mole and everything, right? And he's like, oh, okay, sure. And then, yeah, so Ryuhei is like, I saw you at the finals. Like, that's why I started in middle school, because I saw you and I was inspired by you. And Minato's like, oh, come on. And he's like, fine. Like Ryuhei is not letting him leave. So he's like, I guess I have no choice but to follow you. And so then we have them showing up. And then we have Kachan and Nanao show up. And they're just so, I love how animated they both are already. He's like, I can't start calling you something now. We're childhood friends. He's like, why did I end up in the same high school as you and in the same club? He's like, this blows. He's like, well, why didn't you join the soccer club? And he's like, I'm serious about archery. So that's the thing. We have Nanao, who's Mr. Popular, and we have Kachan, who is serious about archery and competition. Like, he's Mr. Competitive, right? Like, Seiya just wants it to be done well. He wants it to be the best to his ability. And Kachan seems to be super dedicated, right? And he's like, oh, hey, girls, Merha! And God, with the frog and everything. He's like, my Hakama beauty is more than skin deep. I feel like Nanao is a mixture of Rei and Nagisa from Free. Like, he wants to be beautiful and like things beautiful like Rei, but he's also like a freaking ray of sunshine like Nagisa. I feel like they're he's a combination of the two. And they just show up with their bows and everything, all strapped and ready to go. He's like the Kazame High School Kyoto Club's female members. So we have Rika, Seo Rika. Rika's the serious tall one with the short hair. So we have Seo Rika. All right, we have her. And then the girl, we have Shiragiku Noah. So Shiragiku Noah. And she has like the long ponytail. And then I really like Yuna's design. And then we have Hanazawa Yuna. Yeah, I like her design a lot. Hanazawa Yuna. So we have Yuna, Noah, and Riku. And I like Rika, Noah, and Yuna. I like their designs a lot. I like that we have some girls in this show, right? Very cute. He's like, there's no gender segregation in Kyoto, so please get along. Don't be a bunch of smelly, snarky boys. I like it. I like the fact that we'll have some girls in this series to balance things out. And then Seiya. He's like, Kisaragi, Nanao. All right. So Kisaragi. And Mr. Scary Face here is Anogi Kaido. All right, so Nanao and Kaido. I do like Kachan like though. But yeah, very cute. Mr. Scary Face here. He's like, I don't have a scary face. You can call us Nanao and Kachan. And he's like, no, they can't. And he's like, haven't I met you somewhere before? And so I'm sure that where Kachan has seen Seiya is from the archery competitions, but Seiya, who is very humble, is like, oh, you saw me at the entrance exam, remember? And he's like, I love that he's like, no. And then Ryohei, the moment that Seiya sees Minato, he's like, good job, Ryohei. Ah, my heart just like burst at that moment. I was like, oh my God, because Seiya's just like, you did it. You got him to come. I'm like already invested in these characters quite a bit, so I'm really excited about this. But yeah, so our Kyoto Club briefing has drawn quite a crowd. He's like, yes, let's talk about this. And so they demonstrate all the things that you're going to need. He's like, what else do you think that you're going to need? And they're like, oh, you need a bow and arrow. And he's like, no, you need one more thing. And it's the yugake. So the glove is the yugake that he has. Okay. That's what you need. And so this whole thing is that what the sponsor tries to do is that he's like, Minato, you come up here and demonstrate. He's like, let's get it by one of our veterans. And what he's trying to do is to get Minato to come up and demonstrate and get like invigorated and inspired back to archery. And Seiya says, good, right? Seiya's like, good, get him up here, like doing the bow, drawing the bow again, like let his passion like come out and him get inspired and want to join the club again. And I love that Rika's like, this was not in our notes. We did not plan this. Like she seems very by the book. So I like her already. She's like, what is this? But he's like, I'm not a member of the club. And he's like, most people here aren't, but you know how to shoot a bow. And he's like, well, anybody else could. He's like, I hear you got a heck of a shooting form. And Minato's like, and so he clearly has some trauma and anxiety from failing at the finals. And it stuck with him. And this part here where it's Kachan gets a little like bugs me a little bit because which you get what Kachan's getting at. He's like, it doesn't matter if you suck or not, but then he gets on to Minato later, but he doesn't get on to Minato for missing the target necessarily, but for just not putting in the effort. He's like, why didn't you go all out? Why didn't you put in as much effort as you could? He's like, even if you didn't hit the target, why'd you half-ass it? And Minato's like, PTSD, run away, right? But I did think this was funny when he's like, they have the arrows and they talk about the weights and like the length of the arrows that you need for the right arm. He's like, do you have the slightest shred of pride as an archer? And then he's like measuring the air. He's like, oh, mine are a little too long for you, I guess. I was like, is this supposed to be like a sexual innuendo joke there, Kachan, that your arrows are too long for Minato? You know. But he's like, that's how you measure your proper arrow length. Like you have to have the arrow, the right one to pull back and do that with. And so then, like, they have all the gloves for him. And he's like, did you tell Morioka sensei? Did you tell Tommy sensei about the gloves? And he's like, no, I did not. Did I have my glove with me? He says, no. So that's the thing. Minato's like, did you set me up to do this? Did you tell him all about everything about me? And Seiya's like, no, I did not. Because that's not my place, right? Yeah. And I like, Seiya doesn't have his glasses on here, does he? And he's like, And you almost get the impression that Minato, you don't know if he quite believes that he doesn't know. That's the thing. And he's like, well, which glove do you want? He's like, I don't need one. And so he keeps telling himself, he's like, I'm okay. He's like, I've got this. He's like, it's not going to be like before. And he does like all the different stances and everything and gets prepped to shoot the arrow. And as he's drawing it back, he's like, it's not going to be like last time. And he's like, in the air, you can see the target is just kind of in this dingy, dark state in his mind. And it does not make it there. And it's like, he released it too soon. He missed. And Seiya, you can tell Seiya's like, well, shit, nope, it's not gotten any better. Nope. And then we see third Tachi. In Kyudo, you shoot either 2 or 4 arrows in one set. And he's a lot more, him getting to shoot another arrow was not good. He's like, I've never been better. This whole time, I've still... And then we show, like, okay, so Fujiwara is the one with the purple eyes. Yeah, it shows him at the finals not making the target. And just his, like, dead-eyed look, it's so scary and sad. And it's like they took him out, right? And then we cut back to the present. So we cut back to that. So Fujiwara is the one with the purple eyes. Okay. And then, so here's the thing. Kacchan gets mad at him. And he's like, what was that? He's like, you take it seriously. And he's like, I told you I can't do it. And he's like, I'm not talking about that. He's like, that half-ass shot. He's like, you didn't put your all into it. It's like, it's not the fact that you missed. He's like, I don't care about that. He's like, you just didn't care. He's like, I helped you get ready. He's like, don't you have any pride as an archer? And then he's like, I'm not an archer anymore. And it's like, no, Minato. I'm so ready for the power of the Nakama to get him back into archery already. I'm so ready for the power of the Nakama. I'm already sucked into this show. It's too late. He's like, do you not feel good or something? And he just like shucks the shirt back at Seiya. And he says, does he have? And he just looks so sad. He's like, target panic. And they're like, oh, like that explained everything. They're like, oh, okay, never mind. He just has to hold it. He does it because he thinks he'll hit, right? He's finished as an archer, I guess. And then we see Fujiwara there. Arrival? Fujiwara, arrival, perhaps? Perhaps. Here's the thing. I like shipping in shows. I don't see, like, Ryohei is way too puppy dog for Minato. And I already am like, Kacchan and Anao are all kind of already a thing. But Seiya, I don't get quite shippy vibes with Seiya and Minato. They seem actually like platonic best friends. But this Fujiwara guy in the shadows, he might have some ship vibes with Minato. We don't know yet. He was on such a roll too, poor guy. And he says, I'm sorry. And then, yeah, Seiya tries to say, it's okay. And I love that transition of him, like, taking his head out of his hands to, like, him on the bike. Like, just biking. And the way that the sweat pours down off of his face, you can't tell if he's crying or if he's sweating. But yeah, he bikes and bikes and bikes till he can't bike anymore. And then he gets to Yatta Nomori Kyoto Hall. Of all things, he hears the sound. He hears the Tsurune sound, right? He hears it playing in this ethereal, majestic-looking hall that I'm like, wait, what? Now, the question is this the hall that Fujiwara... Is Fujiwara... Because he has, like, a dark... His outfit is dark, kind of like Fujiwara's. So is he the coach for Fujiwara's team? He seems older. He does not seem like a high school student. He seems like an older man. He seems like a high school graduate, if you will. He seems like maybe he's the coach for that team. Is this Fujiwara's team? I don't know. but he is devilishly handsome and has like the bicep and the pec out for all on display for us. KyoAni, and he has the same hair as like Gilbert from Violet Evergarden. I'm already being sold. Before you even introduced the owl, I was sold. What a beautiful draw. Yeah, that ain't the only thing beautiful about him. With the cherry blossoms, like, okay, hi there. Like, come on. And then the owl's just sitting there being like, what you doing? I love it. I love it. Did he say the owl had a name? Oh my gosh. He has like the hand. But he was drawing it without, right? Wasn't he drawing it without the thing on his hand? He didn't have a glove, did he? No, he didn't. He did not have a glove on. Oh, no, he did. Yeah, it was on, he was firing with, it was on the left hand. Or no, it was on his right. Interesting. Okay. And then there we are. He's like, who are you? Why are you in my secret archery spot? He kind of looks like Seiya a little bit. That's why I was confused. Because when we first saw him in the opening, I thought maybe he was Seiya's dad. And Minato was like, oh, you're not the dad or whatever. But no, that's not the case. I'm so curious. So yeah. First episode. But yeah, setting up Minato has some angst. He's got some PTSD from his middle school archery days. He's not gotten over it. It's connected probably to his mom and her death. He needs the power of the Nakama. He may have had a rivalry with Fujiwara. Fujiwara may be concerned about him. Can't wait to meet him. Can't wait to see who Owlman is with his beautiful sculpted body. I like all the childhood friends. I like Nanao, Kachan, Seiya, Ryohei. Like all them. Like our girls down here too. Rika's the only one we've really gotten any interaction with, and she seems super serious. So yeah. I'm pretty excited. See where this all goes. But yeah, what a great first episode to get you hooked. So I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Please no spoilers, or tag them if you want to talk about them without me having to read them. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with episode 2 of Tsurune. Bye.